She had belonged to Sigurd Thorson, and he must have given her a name, though I never did find out what it was. At first, I thought the sword was called Ulfbert because that strange name was inscribed on the blade in big letters. But Finan, my father's friend, told me that Ulfbert is the name of the Frankish smith who made her, and that he makes the finest and most expensive blades in all Christendom, and it must be Christendom because Ulfbert puts the crosses in front of and inside his name. I asked Finan how we could find Ulfbert to buy more swords, but Finan said he is a magic smith who works in secret. A blacksmith will leave his furnace for the night, and return in the morning to find that Ulfbert has been in the smithy and left a sword forged in the fires of hell and quenched with dragon's blood. I called her Ravenbeak, because Sigurd's banner had shown a raven. She had been the sword Sigurd carried when he fought me, and when my seax had ripped his belly open. I remember that sword stroke so well. Remember the resistance of his fine mail suddenly giving way, and the look in his eyes as he realized he was dying, and the elation I felt as I dragged the seax sideways to empty his lifeblood. That had happened in the previous year, at the Battle of Tjotunheim, which had driven the Danes out of central Mercia, the same battle in which my father had killed Knut Ranulfsson, but in killing Knut, he had been wounded by Knut's sword, Icebite. Ravenbeak was a good sword. I thought her even better than Serpent Breath, my father's blade. She was long-bladed but surprisingly light, and other swords broke against her edge. She was a warrior's sword, and I carried her that day in the high wood above the frosted valley where the stream ran so fast. I carried Ravenbeak in my seax, Ator. Ator means venom, and she was a short sword, good for the crowded work of a shield wall. She stung, and it was her venom that had killed Sigurd. And I carried my round shield, on which was painted the wolf's head, the emblem of our family. I wore a helmet crested with a wolf's head, and a coat of Frankish mail above a leather jerkin, and above it all a cloak of bear fur. I am Uhtred Uhtredsson, the true lord of Bebbanburg, and I was nervous that day. I led the war band. I was just 21 years old, and some of the men behind me were almost twice my age, with many times my experience, but I was the son of Uhtred, a lord, and so I commanded. Most of the men were well back among the trees. Only Redwald and Sihtric were with me. Both were older, and both had been sent to offer me advice, or rather to keep me from headstrong stupidity. I had known Sihtric forever. He was one of my father's trusted men, while Redwald was a warrior in the service of Lady Ethelfled. "Maybe they're not coming," he said. He was a steady man, cautious and careful, and I half suspected he hoped the enemy would not appear. "They're coming," Sihtric grunted. And they did come. They came hurrying from the north, a band of horsemen with shields, spears, axes, and swords. Norsemen. I leaned forward in the saddle, trying to count the riders who spurred beside the stream. 3 crews? At least 100 men, and Haki Grimsum was among them, or at least his banner of a ship was there. 120, Sihtric said. "More," Redwald said. 120, Sihtric insisted flatly. 120 horsemen, pursuing the 65 who had ridden through the valley some moments before. 120 men following Haki Grimsum's banner that was supposed to show a red ship on a white sea, though the red dye of the wool had faded to brown and stained the white sea so that it seemed as if the high-prowed ship was bleeding. The standard-bearer was riding behind a big man on a powerful black horse, and I assumed that big man was Haki. He was a Norseman who had settled in Ireland, from where he had crossed to Britain and found land north of the river Mercia, and thought to make himself rich by raiding southwards into Mercia. He had taken slaves, cattle, and property. He had even assaulted the Roman walls of Chester, though that assault had been beaten off easily enough by the Lady Ethelfled's garrison. He was